Welcome to Conversations. My name is Suresh Kochatar. A couple of weeks ago, I had sent out a video in which I had lamented at the state of Indian judiciary. What was meant to be sent to a small group of my friends and also to post on my YouTube channel turned out into a viral video. It's not that I'm not accustomed to audio clips and videos coming back to me with a query. Is that you? This time too, I got a lot of calls and queries, most of which complimented me for taking a tough stand on a subject like judicial overreach. Many of those who got back to me were lawyers, and they expressed the same angst that I had spoken about. Some asked me if I had a solution to sort out the mess that the Indian judiciary finds itself in. I wish I had a magic wand to sort out the mess that started from the British days and continues till date. Along with bureaucracy, the judicial system is another relic of the Raj. As I was thinking of my next subject to speak about, came the news that a retired BSF Jawan killing a man who raped his daughter. The incident happened outside the Gorakhpur Civil Court when a former Jawan, Bhagwat Nishad, shot dead a 25-year-old Dilshad Hussain who had kidnapped and raped his minor daughter. That incident, as I told you, took place outside the Gorakhpur Civil Court in Uttar Pradesh. The accused rapist Dilshad had gone to the court in connection with the rape case last Friday and had asked his lawyer Shankar Saran Shukla to meet him at the court gate. Before Hussain could meet his lawyer, Bhagwat Nishad took out his licensed pistol and shot Hussain on the head. The rape accused died on the spot. The former BSF Jawan was immediately apprehended by two security guards and the manager of the car parking lot. As this news streamed in, my mind went back to the 1989 legal thriller, The Time to Kill. It was a riveting courtroom drama written by John Grisham, set in a fictional town of Clanton in the equally fictional Ford County of Mississippi. Grisham had described his book as very autobiographical, in that the novel's young attorney is basically him, and the drama is based on a case he had witnessed. In 1984, Grisham witnessed a harrowing testimony of a 12-year-old rape victim in the DeSoto County house in Hernando in Mississippi. Two sisters, aged 16 and 12, had both been raped, brutally beaten, and nearly murdered by somebody called Willie James Harris. Grisham used his spare time to begin his first novel, which he explored and what would have happened actually if the girl's father had murdered her assailants. So that's a question which Grisham asked himself. What would have happened if the girl's father had murdered her assailants? In the book, Carl Lee, the fictional character who played the role of the father, is determined to avenge the rape and murder of his young daughter, kills the accused Pete and Billy Ray with a rifle as they're being led into the holding area after a bond hearing. Despite being charged for capital murder, Carl Lee is unanimously acquitted by the reason of temporary insanity. This was achieved when one of the jurors asked the others in an all-white jury to seriously examine that Carl Lee and his daughter were white and that the murder rapists were black. What would have happened then? Now, it's not the first time that an incident of this nature happened in Gorakhpur or anywhere else in the world. There have been cases in the past when a father had taken law into his hands and delivered what is often called instant justice to the person who had committed a gruesome crime like rape and murder. Why does this happen? Here again, the delays in our judicial system, which I spoke of in detail in my earlier video, holds true. We have seen numerous cases in the past, as in this case, where the rapist Dilshad was taunting the father of this girl through Twitter after being released on bail. Let me get this straight. Rapists deserve no mercy, but our judicial system is skewed towards the rich and the powerful. Witnesses can be purchased and often turn hostile in the court. In the initial days of an incident involving rape, we see a lot of publicity, with the media trying to extract every ounce of the breaking news. But a few months and years later, the case travels from one court to another and everything is forgotten. Quite often, the parents of the girl who were violated are forced to watch helplessly as the high-profile lawyers hired by the accused are able to get their clients acquitted. One cannot just blame the judiciary for this system and the situation. The fingers are to be pointed to the society which tends to condone such acts. We have seen in our country a film star who had driven a car over a pavement dwellers being acquitted of the crime. If that had been a common man like you or me who did that act, either deliberate or as an accident, we would have got that punishment. We had seen a case in Hyderabad where a young man speeding along a newly built flyover hurtled down after crashing through the barriers onto the road below, killing a lady who was waiting at the bus stop. The young man walked away free because of a famous last name and also had the audacity to question the design of the flyover, which he claimed resulted in the accident. I'm sure there are many cases that comes to your mind, and I'm sure you can recollect many too. Many of us will recollect the famous Disha encounter case after a young veterinary doctor was raped and murdered by 4 men on the outskirts of Hyderabad. The huge outcry that followed resulted in enormous pressure on the Cyberabad police to do something, and the result was all the 4 accused were killed in an encounter. Predictably, the families of the accused and human rights activists alleged that it was a custodial murder, and the Supreme Court also set up a committee to investigate the encounter. Even a kid could deduce that it was a stage-managed encounter. But people who gathered by the hundreds at the encounter site showered flower petals on policemen and shouted slogans in praise of them. Why did this happen? We do have a POSCO and similar laws which are supposed to speed up trials and convictions. But remember, it does not stop at the conviction. The convict always has the higher court of appeals, and that is where the cases drag on for years. The accused may have the financial wherewithal to go to the Supreme Court, but will the poor parents have the money to travel to Delhi, stay there, and then they're called back by judges for another tariq, which may be a couple of years later? That is when the parents just give up and decide that they should do what the retired BSF Jawan did in Gorakhpur. Why are people looking for instant justice when we are supposed to be a country that is ruled by the law of the land? We are not an Islamic country where punishment for violent crimes is instant and brutal. We have the Indian Penal Code and the judicial system that's supposed to ensure justice. But does it work? Ask yourself. To conclude, let me quote the aphorism: justice must not only be done, but also be seen to be done. This dictum was laid down by Lord Herbert, the then Lord Chief Justice of England. In our country, Satyameva Jayate is still a very far cry. Jai Hind.